students, welcome back to our economic class. Today we will start with Indian economy third chapter that talks about the reforms in 1991. In the previous class we have discussed about the policies of 1950 to 1990. After 14 years of planned development, India has been able to achieve a strong industrial base and became self-sufficient in food grains. But the major portion of the population continues to depend on agriculture. There were some other problems also. All these problems led to the introduction of new policy in the economy. So in this chapter, we will study about the background of the policy, then different policies that included in the new economic policies that are liberalization, privatization and globalization. Let us start. First, we will start with crisis of 1990s or need for introduction of new economic policy in 1991. There were three factors that responsible for the urgent need for economic reforms. First was a sudden rise in the price of essential goods. The second was the government was not able to make repayment on its borrowings from abroad. And third was the foreign exchange reserve that India had could only last for 50 more days. So, all this led to the introduction of new economic reforms during this period. Then, during 1990, our expenditure was more than the income, that is, there was deficit. So government had to borrow money from banks and also from people within the country and from international institutions. Then the expenditure became very much greater than revenue, and this low revenue was accompanied with unemployment, poverty and population explosion, that is high increase rate in the population. To continue spending on development programs of the government did not generate additional revenue. The income from taxation and public sector undertaking was also not very high to meet the growing expenditure. Due to large increase in expenditure and low revenue, meeting of the expenditure through borrowings became unsustainable. Imports grew at very high rate without increase in export, reduced our foreign exchange reserve or foreign currency to finance imports and to pay the interest that needed to be paid to international lenders. So, no country or international funders was willing to lend money to India. So, India approached the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, that is IBRD. It is popularly known as World Bank and International Monetary Fund, that is IMF, and received $7 billion as loan to manage the crisis. For these international agencies put forward some conditions that were removal of restrictions on private sector, reduce the role of the government in many areas, and remove trade restrictions between India and other countries. India agreed to these conditions and announced the new economic policy. This policy consisted of three main policies, that was liberalization, privatization and globalization. So, this new economic policy is otherwise known as LPG policy. And it released in 1991 during the period of Narasimha Rao government. Then the finance minister during that time was Mr. Manmohan Singh. Then this set of policies can be classified into two groups. There were stabilization measures to correct the weakness in balance of payment or earn more foreign reserves or foreign currency and bring inflation under control or keep the rising price under control. And the next one, structural reforms measures. It aimed at improving the efficiency of economy and removing various restrictions in Indian economy. This was the background of introduction of new economic policies. As I told earlier, NEP 1991 consisted of three policies, that are LPG policy, liberalization, privatization and globalization. So let us first discuss about liberalization. Under liberalization, the idea was to liberalize the Indian economy. Okay. We have studied in the previous chapter rules and regulations that Indian government put forward in 1950s became major hindrance in growth and development. Liberalization was introduced to put an end to these restrictions and open various sectors of economy. So, first, if we talk about industrial sector, there were many regulations and restrictions were existed in India during 1950s and 1990s. There were industrial licensing, that is, every producer had to get permission from government to start a firm, and government decide the amount of goods that could be produced. The second one, private sector was not allowed in many industries. And third one, some goods could be produced only in small scale industries. And fourth one, there was control on price fixation and distribution of selected industrial products. But after the introduction of reforms policy, most of these restrictions were gradually abolished except for health hazardous items like alcohol, cigarette, hazardous chemical, industrial explosive, electronics, aerospace, drug and pharmaceutical. Besides this, other items were removed from licensing list. Private sector were highly allowed in industries. Then, if we talk about financial sector includes financial institutions such as commercial bank, investment bank, stock exchange and foreign exchange market. The financial sector in India is regulated by RBI. We have already studied about RBI and its regulatory measures in macroeconomics. The RBI decides bank rate, interest rate, etc. The aim of financial sector reform is to reduce the role of RBI from regulator to facilitator of financial sectors. So now many private sectors or private sector banks were emerged. More mutual funds, international investments were allowed to invest in Indian financial market. This means that the financial sector may be allowed to take decision on many matters without consulting the RBI. The next one, tax reforms. Direct tax and indirect tax, that are income tax and cooperative tax were reduced. It was on the idea that high rate of tax were an important reason for tax evasion and moderate rate of tax encourage saving. Indirect tax like sales tax, that is tax levied on goods and services, were simplified and lowered and introduced a unified indirect tax system in India during 2017, that was GST, and it created one nation, one tax and one market. Then foreign exchange reforms. Under foreign exchange reform, rupee was devalued against foreign currency to solve the balance of payment crisis. Devaluation means decrease in the value of one currency with other currency. As a result, there were more inflow of foreign currency. Then, and in reforms in trade and investment policies. Then, due to liberalization of trade and investment, more foreign investment and technology were increased. Also, efficiency and competitiveness was increased. And these reforms also aimed at to promote local industries and aimed at dismantling of quantitative restrictions on import and export, reduction of tariff rate, removal of licensing procedure for import except in case of hazardous and environmentally sensitive industries, etc. So, liberalization refers to relaxation of government restrictions in areas of economic policy. Let us conclude today's section. Today we have discussed about background of introduction of economic reforms and one reform policy, that is liberalization. If we summarize the term liberalization, it is the removal of industrial licensing system, reduction in restrictions on trade, reduction in the control of RBI in financial sector, and reduction in the level of income tax and cooperative tax in order to achieve economic growth and to reduce conflict in the economy. In the next class, we will discuss about the next policies, that are privatization and globalization. So, children, attend your test paper, study your lessons. Children, bye.